Hare Krishna to everybody.
Yes,
Guru
Mataji.
Brahma,
We-
Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Untam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. In the continuation of reading of chapter 6, Krishna himself was in a different form with each queen and he was acting in different ways. For example, in one form, he was talking with his wife, in another form, he was engaged with his children, and at another form, he was performing some household work. These different activities are called actions in the Lord's different emotions, and when he is in these emotional forms, the expansions are known as Vaibhava Prakasha. Similarly, there are other unlimited expansions of the forms of Krishna, but even when they are divided or expanded without limit, they are still one and the same. There is no difference between one form and another. That is the absolute nature of the personality of Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated in the 10th canto, 40th chapter, that at the time when Akrura was carrying both Krishna and Balarama from Gokula to Mathura, he entered into the water of the Yamuna river and could see in the waters all the spiritual planets in the spiritual sky. He saw there the Lord in his Vishnu form, along with the Narada and the other four Kumaras, and he saw how they were worshipping. This is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam as form. It is stated in the Bhagavad Purana that there are many worshippers who are purified by different processes of worship, such as the Vaishnava or the Aryans, who also worship the Supreme according to their convictions and their spiritual understanding. Each process of worship involves the understanding of different forms of the Lord, as mentioned in the scriptures, but the ultimate idea is to worship the Supreme Lord Himself. In the feature of his Vaibhava Prakasha, the Lord manifests himself as Balarama. The feature of Balarama is as good as Krishna. The difference is that Krishna is blackish and Balarama is whitish. The Vaibhava Prakasha form was also displayed when Krishna appeared in the four-handed form of Narayana before Devaki when he entered this world. And then, at the request of his parents, he transformed himself into a two-handed form. Therefore, sometimes he becomes four-handed and sometimes he becomes two-handed. When he is in a form of two hands, that is actually Vaibhava Prakasha, and when he is four-handed, that is Prabha Vavilasa. In his personal form, he is just like a cowherd boy, and he thinks himself that. But when he is in the Vasudeva form, he thinks himself the son of Kshatriya, and he feels himself also to be a Kshatriya, a princely administrator. Form, opulence, beauty, wealth, attractiveness, and pastimes are fully exhibited in his form as the son of Nanda. In some of the Vaishnava literature, it is found that sometimes in his form as Vasudeva, he becomes attracted to the form of Govinda in Vrindavan. Sometimes as Vasudeva, he desires to enjoy as Govinda does, although the Govinda form and the Vasudeva form are one and the same. There is a passage in the Lalita Madhava, fourth chapter, in which Krishna addresses Uddhava as follows: My dear friend, this Govinda form as a cowherd boy attracts me. I wish to be like the damsels of Braja attracted by this Govinda form. Similarly, in the eighth chapter, Krishna says, How wonderful it is! Who is this personality? After seeing him, I am attracted by him, so that now I am desiring to embrace him just like Radhika. When this form of Krishna becomes a little differentiated, it is called Tadakyatma. In this Tadakyatma Rupa form, there are two divisions also. One is called Swamsha. Both in the Vilasa and Swamsha forms, there are again many differential features which are also divided into Prabhava and Vaibhava. As far as the Vilasa forms are concerned, there are innumerable Prabhava Vilasas. Krishna expands himself as Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Sometimes the Lord thinks himself a covered boy, and sometimes he thinks himself the son of Vasudeva, a Kshatriya prince, and this thinking of Krishna is called pastimes. In his Prabhava Prakasha and Prabhava Vilasa, he is in the form but appears differently as Krishna and Baladeva. His expansions as Vasudeva, um, Saru, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha mentioned above is in the original Chaturvyuha or four-armed form. There are innumerable four-armed manifestations in different planets and different places. For instance, these four-armed manifestations are both in Dwaraka and Mathura eternally, and from these four arms, originally there are the principal's 24 forms, named differently in terms of different adjustments of the symbols held in the hands, and they are called Vaibhava Vilasa. The same four formal manifestations of Krishna are on each planet of spiritual sky called the Narayana Loka or Vaikuntha Loka. In the Vaikuntha Loka, he is manifested in a four-handed form called Narayana, and from each Narayana there is a manifestation of the four forms mentioned above: Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Therefore, Narayana is in the center, and the four forms surround the Narayana form. Each of the four forms again expands into three, and they all have their different names. Beginning from Keshava, there are 12 in all. Such forms are known by different names according to the different placements of the symbols in the hands of Narayana. As far as Vasudeva form is concerned, the three expansions are Keshava, Narayana, and Madhava. The three forms of Govinda are known as Govinda, Vishnu, and Sri Madhusudana. It should be noted, however, that this Govinda form is not the same Govinda form as mentioned in Vrindavana as the son of Nanda. Similarly, Pradyumna is also divided into three forms known as Trivikrama, Vamana, and Sridhara. And similarly, there are three forms of Aniruddha known as Rishikesha, Padmanabha, and Damodara. Chapter 7: Unlimited Forms of Godhead. These 12 different Vaikuntha forms of Lord Krishna are known as predominating deities for the 12 months. According to the Vaishnava Almanac, the months are called by the different names of Krishna. This calendar begins from the month of Margasarisa, equivalent to late October or early November. The month of November is known by the Vaishnavas as Keshava. December is called Narayana. January is called Madhava, and February is Govinda. March is Vishnu. April Vasudeva. May Trivikrama, and June Vamana. July is called Sridhara. August Rishikesha. September is called Padmanabha, and October is Damodara. This Damodara is different from the Damodara in Braja. The name Damodara was given when Krishna was bound by ropes by his mother. But the Damodara form in the month of October is a different manifestation. Similarly, the Vaishnava community marks different parts of the body, and each mark is known by one of these 12 different names of the Spirit Supreme Lord. The mark on the forehead is called Keshava, and on the belly, the breast, and on the arms, there are different names, the same as those of months.
Vishnu Mataji, I think we can pause here and do the summary.
Yeah, sure. So, in this chapter, it is very clearly can be seen that God has form. So there's no question of impersonalism. So he has unlimited different forms, and it's been defined like at every expansion, the forms and having a different symbolizing, holding the symbols and symbolizing the different meaning for each form. And they have said that he has his Prabhava Prakasha and Prabhava Vilasha in the forms, different forms, and he also thinks himself when he acts as a Kshatriya prince with emotions, with different kind of emotions. Krishna represents different forms. They are called Vaibhava Prakashas. And for all his opulences, beauty, wealth, and attractiveness and pastimes, it is exhibited in the form of the son of Nanda. And every Vaishnavas or Aryans worship based on their convictions and in different forms. So there are unlimited expansions of Krishna, as it has been said. He divides himself into four, and each four of forms will again further expand into three forms, and all these can be these names are worshipped when we apply tilaka on different 12 forms of the body. Similarly, the months of the year are also being named by giving the forms of the various forms of Sri Krishna. But it is to be understood here that even though Krishna expands in unlimited forms, all the forms are not different from him. They are one and the same, but Krishna is the original form. So I end here and